know it from all sorts of things. So finally, the language is beginning to be developed, what we have known all along, that when we understand that the point of government is to protect our human and civil rights and to keep the lanes clear so that we can all get toward our dream in America without crossing in front of anyone else, without polluting the river that they need to move in, et cetera, that this can work. And we could have government we could afford if we had campaign finance reform. David, absolutely. The conservative op-ed writer David Brooks, I find increasingly interesting as he has been delving into thinking more about what motivates and moves people and not just working on some sort of a separating mind and body, I guess. And he recently wrote about the false fight over the size of government, which is the biggest, easiest way that people talk about the differences between Republicans and Democrats. That they, like Grover, what's his name, would want to shrink it till they can drown it in a bathtub. And we understand more than ever that there is a right and proper role for government, whether it's in public education or public safety or protection of natural resources, in keeping a sense of the common good and opportunity open for all of us. So David wrote, national issues are not shaped by what percentage of GDP federal spending consumes. National issues are shaped by the character and behavior of citizens. The crucial issue is not whether the federal government takes up 19 or 23% of national income. The crucial question is, how does government influence how people live? The budgeteers and the technicians may not like it, but it's the values inculcated by policies that matter the most. And we know that as Democrats, and that's what we've been arguing. So this is an incredible moment, and I'm so excited that there are so many new faces here, and that we're all paying attention in a time where it requires very close attention. Because the Democratic Party has a history of when we are doing our best at advancing progressive causes, we grow. We grow. Harold Meyerson wrote about this recently, and he said that the story of the Democratic Party is the story of an expanding franchise. When we are at our best and most adamant about those progressive issues that matter. Think, he said, of Andrew Jackson when he eliminated property requirements for white male voting, or FDR in the labor movement, or the civil rights movement in the 60s. Or President Obama's campaign in 2008. All of these were moments of expansion of the franchise. So I'm here to say it's so important this begins locally. And it can only happen and built with strength locally. And the state party will only not misspeak when they hear us and see what we have done and developed locally. Mary has talked to me about her ambition and dream to see a permanent home for the Brown County Democratic Party. And I just said, bravo, we need this leader with a very strong and bold vision, because I have seen what this can do. In Eau Claire, Wisconsin, when they kept an office open year-round and really invested in it as a permanent place, it helped the party develop in unforeseen ways. It became a multi-generational point of building friendships and building a sense of community. It was a place where people had a lot of fun. It became a great place to stop in and do some work on the fly as you were moving through town, and people got engaged in different ways. And in their conversations, people began to understand that I'm a Democrat. Dawn and I were talking. Dawn is a Democrat because she's concerned about family violence. And there are some people who come in through the door who are here because, and they're a strong Democrat because they have been working in the labor movement and understand how important this is to give us the possibility of a strong middle class, which we have seen where there's disruption around the world, is essential to a strong democracy. Everybody comes in through a different door, or with a different motive in mind, and we knit them together, and that is why we are Democrats, and it needs to be visible and strong and easy to do the work and to continue to grow. It's a place where ideas are exchanged, forums can be had. I know that there's one group in Eau Claire where they have a every other Friday, or maybe it's once a month, I can't remember, an ideas lounge. And there are all sorts of interesting things. But when you do this, and what happened there, is that not only were they casting a wider net and having a greater impact in the community, which is the most important thing, and strengthening the community, but that visible institution, infrastructure for the local Democratic Party made it easier to recruit good candidates. And people who had thought about running now could see a place and see the potential volunteers and the investment of a community in this very important work that was being done. And then all of a sudden they had a progressive majority on their city council. Think of what that might look like in Green Bay. What would we do? But that's kind of Harry's bold vision. And then in Eau Claire, Dave Zine and two other Republican Assembly people, Dave was this crazy state senator, boom, they were gone in one election year. So there's a lot that can be done. We can work better with local government, which needs to be done, and do it under the banner of the Democratic Party. I worry, and this I ask you, and I was talking with some friends about this earlier, that in Green Bay, and I knew this when I was here, and I could see it even more clearly when I was in Madison. In Green Bay, we tend to confuse caution and courtesy. And so people are worried that having a strongly held value and expressing it is something that they need to keep tamped down and not speak out and allow even, I'll never forget, when the same year that they hoisted a crush up on top of our city hall, and the city council president said racist things into a microphone, and what drove me wild was the silence of community leaders in response. Because they didn't want to offend somebody? You know, what is that about? So we need to feel the strength in our numbers and in the sense of what a beautiful society this could be if we don't confuse caution and courtesy, and we actually express and work important ideas and be provocateurs. Remembering that engagement is cumulative. Everything that draws people in, and when you're having a good office working, makes it possible for them to get involved further. And they'll find new ways and new strategies will be developed. The media, this is also important. The party builds strength and a higher level profile in the area, and we need to develop and nurture relationships with the media so that they know that there is a large group of people who really understand what work is afoot if we are going to make this community and this state and nation prosper. So I have great hopes for this moment, even in the midst of the chaos, but we can't be distracted. And we need to communicate about those specific things. Everybody has something we can all do as much as we can. Communicate with Joint Finance in the moment that they are serving on the Joint Finance Committee. Every one of those legislators represents every one of us. Give Dave the numbers to take bold positions and let him know. Make sure that because people see this building movement here, that there's just no way they'll be able to collect enough signatures to even put Dave through the test of a recall. So it's the most important work. It's a time of tremendous opportunity for us as Democrats to set it right. And I look forward to having more time and being able to be up here more often to work proudly side by side with you. Thank you.